Hello, Facebook Live people in Facebook. Going to get going with another Sandy AOC Goes to Standing Rock Part 4. Can be a good show. We've done 3. You have to go back and watch them if you haven't seen them. They're all incremental. But we want you to share this out. Get more people to join. This can be a great show.
You know, the first 3 shows were really just laying the foundation for what you're going to learn about tonight. And tonight's show is going to blow your mind.
We're just going to have a few more people join in. Another minute or so of this music. This is music from YouTube Audio Library. It's a safe way of being able to use music on your live stream because it's not copyrighted and it's put out by YouTube to be able to be used for live streams and other projects. So enjoy. This is called Pop Killer from YouTube Audio Library. We'll be right with you. Hang in there, invite some people, share this out. It's going to be a great show on AOC Sandy Goes to Standing Rock Part 4. About to get going. Hold on to your seatbelt. Fasten it up. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy.
Welcome to the show. This is a Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP, Fargo-Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Tonight will be my 4th installment on Sandy at Standing Rock. And for those of you who don't know, Sandy is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's who she was before she went on her road trip to Standing Rock, during her stay at Standing Rock, and after she left Standing Rock, when she was still inviting people to go to the camp and continue to support the protest. In this part, I am going to show you what other people she was visiting while at camp, because what we know now is that Sandy didn't start her campaign as a congresswoman out of thin air. It was based on her road trip to Standing Rock. That's when she made the decision. Her origin story is that she had this epiphany while on the road trip, which stopped in various places, an important one of those being Flint, Michigan, and talking about the Flint water crisis, and then to Standing Rock. And we also know that she was working on the Bernie campaign prior to going to Standing Rock. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about what motivated her to go to Standing Rock, right? The article in the Times that is now peddling her new book said that she went to Standing Rock to, quote unquote, find out how Trump happened. Those were the words they used. To find out how Trump happened. And the question I have is, how do you go to Standing Rock to look for that answer? How did Trump happen? So we know that there was something connected to a resistance to the Trump administration that was in opposition to or planning on fighting that administration that went with her to Standing Rock. It was part of her motivation, but we'll find out today more of what motivated her to go to Standing Rock in her own words. And Maria Swisher, her friend that went along with her, and her words, and Joshua Pareda. We'll see what they have to say about why they went and what kinds of thoughts they were having politically at the time. They had a political discussion. We'll share some of that video. And then we'll also talk a little bit about what AOC did at camp, including doing a gas run for a registered sex offender. All of that will be coming up tonight on Sandy at Standing Rock Part 4. You do not want to miss it. Please share this on all your platforms. Duke, how can folks support our work and find our platforms?
Well, hello, Facebook live streamers. Welcome to our show tonight. We're doing another one on AOC Sandy, Alexandria. The Z is an S, so it's Sandria. You can find us in many places. You're on our Facebook channel. We also have a YouTube channel. It's Duke1517. You can find our channel, Duke1517. We do live streams there. We also take live streams we do on Facebook, and we upload them to the YouTube channel because we have an audience on YouTube that's a little bit different than Facebook. We like to split it up. Facebook lives, YouTube lives, break it up for the different people that are following us. We appreciate everyone that is. If you'd like to find out more about us, you can actually tweet us at media_PPP. If you'd like to send email, you can send an email to Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke at kpppfm.com. We also have not only 88.1 Fargo Moorhead, 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead that you're watching right now. We also have the People's Press Project and Mexi Dash Can. Our website, kpppfm.com, is where we put our shows up. We'll put other information about the shows. You can find that at kpppfm.com. Also, while you're there, you can support us because we're a nonprofit, non-commercial radio station in Fargo Moorhead. We do 24-hour-a-day programming here in this area, but we do the live streams and we do the on Facebook and on YouTube. We've reached an international audience. People all over this country and other countries watch these. Very valuable information. You can find out more at kpppfm.com. Go to the kpppfm.com/donate button. Support our work with a tax-deductible donation so we can continue doing live streams, 24-hour programming, and outreach in this community. And welcome to the show. It's going to be a doozy.
So we're going to start with the video from December 19th. This is when they're leaving to go on this road trip. Like, it's really the first video on her social media page, Alex OC. And the tail end of it is where they start to discuss why they're going, what their plans are for going on this road trip. Here is that clip.
Kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, not on the live stream though, but we were talking about like what made us go to Standing Rock. And Maria and I have been
political buddies, essentially, for a while.
Yeah, for a long time. And all year, anytime something would happen, we'd talk about it in the news, we'd talk about it, we would just talk about current events all the time. And
we were both working on Bernie's campaign.
Yeah, so we were both. Yeah, so this summer we were both kind of working on Bernie's campaign, and I don't know about you. Well, Maria had some experience too because she was at a protest in DC before that. But after working on Bernie's campaign, I personally. Candidate, politics aside, I thank you, Josh. Thanks for the well wishes and safe travels. But anyways, after working on that campaign, I really started feeling invested in terms of...
I'm not exiting here, right?
No.
Yay. Cool. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. We gotta navigate.
She's gonna get lost.
But I started feeling... Oh, that was our exit?
That was us. Oops. Sorry.
Whoops. It's fine. But yeah, I started feeling much more motivated to, I think, act on what I felt, what was...
Right there.
Okay, so what did...
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Cool.
So, basically, we're going to
Pause for just a second. Re-navigating.
We're re-navigating.
What is it? That's not what she says usually. She says what does she say when she's...
Redirecting?
Redirecting, yeah.
But yeah, I started thinking more about acting on what we felt was the right thing to do.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
So, next thing you want to do is, like, when you get a chance, just make a left and we're going to get off this, okay?
Okay.
Because, we just need to come at around the approach.
Cool. So I started feeling more of an impulse to act on what I felt was right. And what about you, Maria? What kind of got you up to this moment?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I've been, especially in light of what's been going on recently, I just feel like it's really important that everybody stay as aware and active as possible in putting themselves physically in places that show that they care and not just sort of saying it. Or so I've been excited about that idea, and this particularly with Standing Rock just feels like the time in history and the symbolic kind of importance of what's going on with these people that are not being told that they're allowed to say not in my own backyard. Everybody else has been, and it's just kind of crazy what's going on right now. So it's been something that to me felt like a very important fight.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
Yeah, no, we just got to recalculate. So you're gonna want to get off of this because this is the highway. I meant to take a local street up.
I didn't see any.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. So what we need to do is just get off at the next thing.
All right, guys. So we're gonna re-navigate. We're gonna chill for a little bit. We'll be live all night, so we'll be kind of popping on and off. But thank you so much for watching. This is leaving New York. So we're jazzed about joining us. Check out the GoFundMe, send us messages, hang out, and we'll be back later tonight. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
So did you get what it was that motivated her? Because in the article it says it was, to find out how Trump happened, and then we find out that after the elections, she started feeling more like she should be acting on what she thought she should do. She said she had the impulse to act on what was right. She asks Maria, what's your motivator? Why are you going to Standing Rock? And she said something about putting yourself physically on the line for what you stand for. Remember, these are the people you heard urging folks all across America to go to a camp in the middle of a blizzard in conditions where the road was closed, such that when Sandy arrived with her posse at the camp, they had an armed confrontation with law enforcement because she went down a road that was closed. But she's still inviting people to go out there. And what are they doing? They're putting their bodies physically on the line to show what they stand for. Maria goes on to tell us there's symbolic importance to this. Symbolic in what? We're going to hear more about it, okay, because they tell you about what's sacred. You heard them in that post Google Hangout chat where they took notes and told people what to do and how to behave and how to observe the sacredness of the sacred fire and respect the people when using media. I showed you snippets of that. They sounded like experts. They sounded like organizers of the camp, not people that arrived in the middle of the night, which they did.
Yeah.
And by the way, isn't it a coincidence that they were able to arrive in the middle of the darkness in nighttime and they had a place to stay automatically with a wood-burning stove in it?
Yep.
I think that's incredible. Okay. In this next video, they start talking about politics. This is on the same day, just hours later. The first video was when they were leaving town at 3:01 p.m. And the next one that you are going to hear now, clips from, happened at 5:07. Here's clip number 1.
We were so wrong. How wrong we were because of how extreme everything is. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Well, how do you think the media is going to respond? Like, what is it going to, like, what is it doing now? How do you think it's?
Well, I think it's doing what it always does, which is trying to capitalize on anything that, whether it's true or not, is gonna be as I think right now anyway, the narrative is very divisive. So that seems to be what the focus is.
Well, I do think that I do think you're right in that the media does it doesn't help us in terms of making us, in terms of bringing people together. I do think that they've been taking advantage of narratives, by taking advantage of narratives that are sensationalist and are reactionary.
Precisely.
It makes people dig their heels in, and then it prompts us to revisit like very basic questions about race, like what is racism? I'm not wearing a hood over my head or burning crosses on anyone's lawn, so I'm not racist. And it doesn't create the room for us to say, hey, like maybe some of my everyday interactions require a little bit to dig a little more deeply.
100%. And I think that the thing
Digger
is
deep, everyone.
There's not room for people to be able to say, I don't see it.
Okay. I want to stop there to point out how hypocritical it is that these women and this man, who are not from Standing Rock, who are not from the area, the state, who are not from any Indian. Well, wait a minute. AOC, in my last show, I revealed to you that she does claim to have Taino indigenous blood. Her great-grandfather, was it?
Yeah.
Was a medicine man? Yeah. She posted about it. Interestingly, though, these folks who prior to this time had not ever declared any Native affiliation or really showed any interest in the problems in Indian country in the middle of North Dakota, are now talking about going to North Dakota to discover how the Trump election happened, right? Mm-hmm. And their other motivator is to act, to go and physically put yourself in harm's way, and to do so, apparently, for the Native American fight on this reservation for the pipeline to stop. They didn't stop it, right? They didn't stop it, but they wanted people to go there and put themselves in harm's way. That's what they just said.
That's right.
And now you have AOC telling you, and this is important for you to hear, that the media and other entities are responsible for the rhetoric of hate, for this rhetoric of divisiveness, right? Who are the people that are going to an Indian camp in the middle of North Dakota to use it as their backdrop to jumpstart their career. It's these people. It's the people right behind me. It's AOC. It's Joshua Pereira. It's Maria Swisher. Maria is also an actress, like Sandy is. Josh is another kind of an artist, or so he hopes to be, maybe, thinks he is. I don't know. I'll show you some of his art later, and I'll let you decide for yourself what you think. But what they're telling you right now is that they are on a higher moral plane of understanding about race, about how people should be treated, about how you help Native Americans. They didn't do anything for Standing Rock in the long run. The money, the donations, they didn't stay in Standing Rock. These folks came, used Standing Rock as a staging ground for their movie set, for the confrontations with police, and then left town and left the people of North Dakota holding the bag. And Sandy had every bit to do with the whole planning of it. So what is not racist about what she's doing? What's not divisive about what she's doing? Where they're all going to the camp to do and to promote. I think they're guilty of exactly what they're on their hottie high horses are talking about.
Exactly. I totally agree.
It's just a bunch of, if you can spit out this rhetoric, somehow you're immune from doing the very thing or being accused of doing the very thing that these folks are doing.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I listening to the guy Josh in the back talk, and anytime I hear white people talk about racism, and it's like, I listen very intently. And he is not saying nothing. He's flipping around his words and kind of trying to sound like he has an analysis. And AOC sounds very juvenile and doesn't have a grip on even discussing systemic racism or, it's like two white people and someone from Brooklyn going to Standing Rock, and they're probably thinking, we're going to be around a lot of natives. What do we know about Native Americans? Nothing. So we can just be anti-racist and know about racism. We'll fit in just fine.
Remember, they go and they interview a woman who talks about two people, neither of whom are from the tribe, neither of whom are Native American. They're Mexicans. And guess what? The woman she interviews that is a honey keeper or an oath keeper. What is she?
Harmony keeper.
Harmony keeper. Excuse me. Self-titled Harmony keeper. She calls the Fort Laramie treaties the Fort Larry treaties. That's how unknowledgeable these people are. Play pretending that they're now Indian adjacent or Indian themselves. I showed you how the people they were hanging out, who were Mexican, were wearing medicine bags around their neck for photos in National Geographic. Come on. These people do not respect culture of Native Americans. They appropriate them just like the people that they point their fingers at. They just spew the right words to make it okay. But it's not okay. Go on. Let's go to the next clip here.
Oh, you don't want to finish that one? We're good with that one?
I don't even know if I want to hear him anymore.
All right, let's go to the next one.
I'm just annoyed with him. I think I've made my point.
Yep.
I know, but there's some certain things in here that they talk about that are pretty important. So hopefully I don't go miss any of that.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
Next clip.
Next clip.
It's not as evocative emotionally to say, well, let's just sit down and have a rational conversation. What the camera shows is people screaming at each other, punching each other, slogans. And
did I just exit off of something? I think you might have.
I don't know. Let me see. Hold on.
Every time we turn on the Facebook Live, we make a wrong turn. We're working on it, people.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
You got off.
I only had one job, and that was just...
Yeah.
Okay. We've watched two videos from the same day on their day they are leaving.
Within hours of them leaving.
And in both videos, they get lost. I don't know if these people can chew gum and walk at the same time. They certainly can't live stream and drive at the same time. Maybe they shouldn't be. But you know they're on a mission. It's like they're working, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They're busy. And normally, if you're that, lost, literally, that you cannot, even with GPS in your car telling you turn-by-turn directions, figure out where the hell you're going while someone is live streaming in the vehicle, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, remember that she launched her whole platform for her campaign as a congresswoman following this road trip, unplanned road trip to Standing Rock, or so we are asked to believe.
Exactly.
Here's the next clip.
I think it's really easy to kind of, for the media to be predatory in this racial topic and say like, oh, like, look at what this cop did. And then like, oh, like, look at what this black guy did. And then people like share these partisan videos and they're like, see, like, look at this other side.
It's the echo chamber. It's the echo chamber.
Yeah, but where I do think there needs to be...
whenever you can.
Huh?
Oh, no, I'm giving her directions.
Okay. Sorry, what?
We have to pull over. We have to get
in the right lane.
We have to get all the way like over.
Okay.
Okay, before we cut to the scene where they get lost again, or where they find the road that they're supposed to be on, let me just point out, I don't have the screen capture from the video, but you are all welcome to go and find these. Just type in Alex OC on your Facebook search, and you'll find her page that all of these videos can be located on. In this particular video, remember, these are both from December 19th, the day they leave on their road trip. There is comments in the video that you can read when you're watching the video. One of them is from her mother, to whom she says, "Thank you, Mom." And when you go to Mom's page and scroll down, you'll find a lot of posts about AOC. You'll also find posts about, like, one that that I saw that was jarring, that had the Nazi SS standing looking into the concentration camp in a black and white photo, and then a black and white photo that was purposely made into a black and white photo of Mike Pence at a detention facility with some other people that run the facility. And here we have Sandy's daughter, AOC's daughter, talking about how the media can take advantage of, be predatory. Who is she really describing here?
Exactly.
Taking advantage of stories like the one that put Kathleen Bennett in jail. Faking these scenarios where people actually did get hurt. But putting people's lives at risk for your narrative to fall into place so that you can pitch this beautiful made-up story about your awakening into politics that literally preyed upon the land of the Native American people of one of the poorest nations in the whole country. That was all you. Let's hear what else she has to say about the media.
Let's watch them get lost again.
Yeah.
And so I do think that there's a really...
You have to get over one more?
Yeah, get off the next exit. That there is a really tough balance to strike between making sure that we're talking about race in a constructive way, but also not ignoring it.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's done that properly yet in the media.
Well, because it's a checks and balance thing, isn't it? It's trying to find, as you said, that like middle ground of keeping that, because you're right, like the whole idea that like the whole more subtle sort of attitudes of we're in a post-racial society and stuff are totally just as damaging.
Yeah,
and
it's true. No, it's
have
it's
to
totally
be
true.
confronted.
These people don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, let's go to the next clip.
Here we go.
Here we go. This is the next clip.
Time. Like, CNN has made me so mad this year. New York Times.
I know these
so
institutions
disappointing.
that you
So
Like
incredibly
these
disappointing, yeah.
institutions that we're supposed to rely on, like, and it's not a tinfoil hat thing.
No,
it's
not
not
at all,
like, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. It's like, no, like, I think a lot of Americans are very angry at the fact that the media just sold out to Hillary Clinton, and like, I'm sorry, like, I voted for her, like, etc. But we have a problem in this country with, like, elitism. We have a country.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do. We sell out.
Am I in a turning
You're good.
lane?
No, you just keep going straight. Just keep going straight.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
And so I do think she's immensely qualified, immensely intelligent, etc. And I think, when we look at
Right
the
lane for
polls,
exit only.
Sorry?
so we stay on the left. Yeah,
Oh,
stay
wait.
on the left.
Lane-wise? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, we just got to stay straight. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
Not exiting.
But we do see this, like, ooh, this is bad traffic.
It's all bad around here.
This is a
It's
great
rush hour.
This is a great opportunity for us to talk then.
Yep.
But I do think that a lot of people were frustrated that the media seemed to be trying to make the news and trying to, like, determine the candidates instead of reporting on them. And I think
I think
people
the
got
bias,
really frustrated
the
at
bias was so obvious. Like, even if you weren't looking for it, even the New York Times did an article about their own bias.
Yeah.
I mean, it was outrageous how biased they were.
Well, I mean, how could you miss this election?
Good point.
So I don't know. That may be I don't know. That may sound a little extreme, but I do think that the frustration is very real.
Absolutely.
In everyday Americans, like, we saw that in the exit polling. No matter who you voted for, whether you voted for Hillary Clinton, whether you voted for Donald Trump or otherwise, everyone in these exit polls were dissatisfied with their options. And everyone in the exit polls were disappointed in, like, where we're at right now. So, it's tough, but I do think that Bernie Sanders did speak to a demographic of people that may have chosen to, how do I say this? May have wanted to be a little more constructive in their movements and political actions, but when that was no longer an option, they decided to be destructive. But I don't know, maybe that's unfair.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that Hillary Clinton wasn't elected because of Bernie supporters by any means. I think that it's
What?
but I do think that there's been a huge. It seems like a lot of people have been very quick to say after this election that anybody that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton did so because they're a racist and a xenophobe.
I think
It's a lot more complicated.
that's-
Unfortunately,
absolutely.
they did rely on their privilege to say, oh, those attitudes are not going to affect me. I can disregard the attitudes that are abhorrent and say burn
Because they
down
can
the
afford
system
it,
because
quote, unquote.
that's not going to touch them. They're
Right.
not going to be deported. They're not going to, and that's a real problem.
And that's what I read. That's what I read as well, actually.
But I don't even think that people elected for Donald Trump. I mean, they didn't, because the popular vote doesn't reflect that. But it's just that Democrats didn't vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
or Americans didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that people voted for Trump. It's that they didn't vote for Hillary because no one turned out. No one
That's totally
showed up.
accurate. I mean, what was it? Democratic voting was down by like 5%, 10%? And
it was down a lot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but like nationally, obviously, it was more significant than that. But the voter turnout on the registered Democratic side was absolutely lower than in 2008 and 2002.
Is that true though? Because
Yes,
I thought
is.
Hillary Clinton has gotten more votes than.
But percentage wise,
growing
in
population.
Wisconsin, in certain districts, that's where it was like very close.
Well, this is the thing that's frustrated me so much about the aftermath of this is that we remember in the primaries how there was this question of, is Bernie Sanders electable? Could he carry the South? And that's not what needed to happen, we needed to win the Rust Belt, and he could have done that. And
he definitely could have done that.
There are places that went for Obama that didn't go for Hillary.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of complex things going on here that are outside of, and you can also say like maybe misogyny is stronger than racism in the United States.
I don't think
it's just that
I think
at
that's
all.
so dumb. Like when people say, "Oh, like this country is more sexist than it is racist," and it's like, Hillary. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be down, but she didn't try hard enough in Michigan. She didn't make a single visit to the United Auto Workers before the general election, and then they're like upset that union workers didn't organize for her. It's not even about her as a candidate. If any presidential candidate doesn't bother to show around and show up and really organize, and for what it's worth, I think that Democrats have also been very spoiled by Barack Obama because he is one of the strongest organizing campaigns that we've ever seen, and that's what it takes. I think it takes that ground game, but.
Yeah, I mean, it was never going to be easy to elect Hillary Clinton in general. She's a very unpopular.
Didn't stand a chance.
Places,
but
said the woman that voted for Hillary.
She has done. That's not to say that she hasn't done a ton of work for this country.
No,
and she's immensely qualified. I think her heart is in the right place, but her political alignment is very complicated, and people don't like that.
She's complicated.
Yeah.
We love Bernie. Hill is complicated.
Yeah.
Why don't you just tell people what you're really about? Why don't you just be honest? Why does this all have to be contrived? Why does the Justice Democrats in the brand new Congress have to pretend to hire someone that's not in politics? That's not a political whatever. And it's clear to me that they were always planning a run for AOC, that they were planning to lay the foundation, and a lot of it has to do with the organizing work around the platform that was created by AOC when she was on this road trip. And I'm going to show you more about what she did both during and after. I want to remind people that right after Standing Rock, a bunch of people from Standing Rock were in Washington, D.C., including Melanie Stoneman, as she is really known by many people. The woman that kidnapped Oglala Lakota elder named Mary Trujillo and put her in a hospital and in an early grave, and put her daughter, Kathleen Bennett, in jail for 6 months. She was facing 15 years in prison had we not reported on the false charges and helped her get an attorney and had those charges dropped. So I was very interested to learn that AOC and Swish the Dish, that's her Instagram channel, Maria Swisher, were both there. Here's a post from her Instagram showing AOC at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And you can see there in the hashtags that they're at the Women's March.
Yep.
Okay? And in this next one, we see more from the Instagram of Swish the Dish.
Oh, yeah.
Women and allies fighting for democracy and equality in Washington, D.C. And after that, in her Instagram, you also find that in December of 2016, she was at a restaurant with Josh. What date is on this Instagram post?
Let's have a look.
I think it's at the bottom there. Yeah, December 27. The day after December. So she left on December 24th. Remember that? She left on December 24th. So they all left on December 24th from the camp. And on December 27th, they were still driving together. This is a picture of Josh in a cafeteria. I believe they were somewhere in the Midwest still. And we know that they went to Puerto Rico, right?
Oh, yeah,
They were
that's right.
tagged in Puerto Rico together. So the day after this, they do that live stream
Yep.
talking about all the things you're supposed to do when you're at Standing Rock and how much money you need and all that good stuff. Now let's look at this next photo. Standing Rock. It's called Maria Insta. This one, you just passed it.
Right, that's it.
And this one shows the flag road at Standing Rock.
Okay.
And what is the camp that they were posting about? Oceti Sakowin Camp. She says, each flag represents a tribe participating in this historic fight to protect the water of 17 million Americans. Dakota means the people in the Lakota language. The people united will not be moved. Hashtag Standing Rock. Road to Standing Rock. No Dapple, Miniwachoni, South Dakota, North Dakota. Flag Don, Oceti Sakowin, Black Hills, Water is Life, Dakota.
Yep.
Does this sound like a person that just happened upon a camp? They had it down. They knew it inside and out and what was going on there. Now let's look at that Instagram for Joshua. I'm not going to show it all to you because it's, I don't know. He calls this art, but there's a bunch of photos that are semi-nude that really bother me. And then there's a whole bunch of them that are fully nude that kind of, you can scroll down. It's
right.
safe. It's safe. I mean, it's semi. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's most of the thing is like this. And that's
Okay.
why I said that you might think that he is a photographer. You don't want to show any more of that, huh?
Nope.
But that is pretty much a lot of what the photographs consist of.
Wow.
And so I said, I don't know if I agree. He's a photographer.
Yeah.
Here is Maria posting about Armando Tellez on her Instagram. Armando Tellez is the guy
The firekeeper.
The fire. Well, he's the U.S. Marine that she interviewed along with the Harmony Keeper, right?
Yep, that's right. He's a
And
Harmony
you
keeper
see
too.
him. What is he doing? He's feeding the wood fire stove that they were talking about that they got as part of the gear and the tarpy that they stayed in. You can see in the background the covering on the wall. She doesn't call him some interview person. She said, our friend Armando, Marine vet, camp guide, and fire starter.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the fire burning, Miniwachoni, inspire, wood burning, North Dakota, no dapple, veteran, South Dakota, Standing Rock, road to Standing Rock. I wonder why they didn't title that the book. The book
really.
that she came out with. I wonder why they didn't call it that. I don't know. And of course, here is Maria's Instagram. Hers is not like that, but notice that she doesn't say barkeeper.
Yeah.
Or campaign worker or organizer or activist. It says actress.
Actress.
She is an actress, just like Sandy.
Exactly.
If you scroll down, you'll see what kind of art she specializes in. It's kind of like this weird kind of performance art. And
Yeah.
she does yoga, and one of the very first pictures up there, she's in all these weird poses and weird backgrounds. So you get an idea of Maria Swisher's Instagram, right?
Yep.
Here's Maria's Insta of AOC's camp. Once again, it says there, "You are here for a reason. Morning fires at Standing Rock." North Dakota, South Dakota, road to Standing Rock, later Graham, morning witness, Mini-Wachoni. While they were at the camp, they went to the sacred fire. Duke and I were there. We know where that is.
Yeah.
And when they were there was, these people that wake everyone up in the morning, and they are also prayer leaders. They're the ones that are kind of the rule keepers. They're the ones that are kind of doing sort of like a security detail. I mean, they're the ones that are directing people where to go. They're the ones that tell people you can't take pictures here or you can't record this. They're the ones that, lead a lot of the, introductions.
Yep.
But it's kind of a sacred place, right? It's a sacred thing, or at least they told us that it was. And they do a video with one of the guys that's talking and telling jokes, and she's like, "Can I get a selfie with you?" And he gets in the video, and he's like, "Hey, how are you, all you old no dapplers out there?" And makes some joke on her video.
Yep.
And then in this next photo, Maria Swisher posts about the sign to what Ryan Vizen's Facebook page that he established while at the camp.
Yep.
Another self-proclaimed veteran that went to make his photography debut at the camp, recently peddling his own book. And she posts the flag road with his No Spiritual Surrender banner.
Yeah.
And says, "It isn't done at Standing Rock." This is on December 24th, the day they are hitting the road and getting out of Dodge.
Yep.
We're leaving. We've got to go celebrate Christmas and enjoy the rest of our year. But for you out there, you need to come to Standing Rock. It isn't done. Not by a long shot. There's so much hope here, so much strength, and so much love. We will win. And their hashtags are Mini-Wachoni, Standing Rock, Water is Life, Love, Spirit, No Dapple Justice, Road to Standing Rock, Native American, South Dakota, North Dakota.
Yep.
And also from her Insta, you find that she does know some stars. Here's a picture of Standing Rock's AOC picture. With the doggy that was the only picture of Sandy at Standing Rock I ever saw in the media at the time that she was there. And in this next one, you will see Maria posting on her Insta about dogs at Standing Rock. Here's another one of Josh at another diner in Little College Cafe.
Yeah.
What's the date on that? Bismarck, it says. No, December 22nd. So they were still at the camp. They left the camp to go eat somewhere that wasn't camp and that wasn't the casino.
Yep.
Because remember, they didn't leave until the 24th.
Fourth, yes.
So they were in Bismarck at that point, and it says the food was pretty cheap because they had a 6-ounce steak and fantail shrimp dinner for $11.50, Duke.
Wow, let's go.
Yeah, right? And of course, here she is with Jake Gyllenhaal. She had the opportunity to work with him. So she says he's a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
So I want to show you a video of the people that Sandy and Maria and Josh interviewed in that one interview, the only interview she even did with Armando Tellez, propping up the vets, the veterans that were there, first with AOC, later with Tulsi Gabbard, or was it before with Tulsi Gabbard and now with AOC? whatever the way that it was. Yeah, actually, it was Tulsi first, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because West came first. And then they held a press conference on behalf of a group named Green Latinos. So this woman, Susana Sandoval, she is not merely a harmony keeper, as she described herself. She is a political entity. She was running for office. I also showed you that she is part of a PR company that she is the president of herself, that she said was working for or on behalf of Phyllis Young, one of Ochetti's camp organizers. So here's a video of the Green Latinos from YouTube when they're at the camp talking about holding a press conference for why they are there. And you'll notice Susana is there. And there is another woman who I'm going to bring up in a moment named Aura. I'll point her out when she is speaking. Here is that clip. There's Dave Archambault
coming here
in the red baseball cap. Aura is sitting in the front row with a smile on her face in the white sweater. She's the only other woman in the front row. This person will be important coming up. Let's listen.
Today, my name is Mark Magana. I'm the president and CEO of Green Latinos. We are a national coalition of Latino environmental and conservation advocates. I want to thank the Chairman Archibald, for inviting us here today. As Latinos and our cultural heritage, we have a culture of conservation handed down to us from generations as well. We are taught to respect the land, mi tierra, to fight to defend our land as well. And so we want to come here to show our respect, to show that we want to stand with the Standing Rock Sioux, and to show that our community is behind this effort to fight to preserve the water, to preserve the way of life, to preserve our culture. That we are no longer alone when we fight. When we fight, we have 400, 1,000, 100,000, a million people behind us.
What?
And especially now, when our fights are only going to get bigger, our battles are only going to get larger, we need to know that our communities will come together, that we'll support each other, and that we won't stop. Because this is just the beginning. Our fight for our water, our fight for our air, our fight for our climate, our fight for climate change, our fight for the future, for our children, for our grandchildren, for the generations that come after us. That's what we're all about. And so this is beautiful. I'm shaking because of what I've seen ever since I came into the camp. And I want to make sure that the community knows, and we'll have some Spanish speakers as well, for hopefully some Spanish media. We want to emphasize that everyone can do something wherever they live. They don't have to be at this camp. That on the 15th, there's a day of action where people are going to the Army Corps of Engineers sites near them to stand with the Standing Rock Sioux. That you can find local events in your neighborhood. And if it's not fighting with the Standing Rock Sioux, it's fighting for climate change. It's fighting for the closure of a coal-fired power plant. It's fighting for clean water. It's fighting for a river. It's fighting for more public transportation. It's fighting for your families. So we thank you for allowing us to come here today, for inviting us. And we're very amped up and encouraged by what we see. And we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it to our communities. And we want to get the Latino community to be behind you. And they will be 100%, because we understand. We've fought for our tierra for decades, for years, centuries. And we will continue to do that with you. So thank you. And we have some more speakers if you want to speak first.
Well, I just want to welcome you, and thank you for being here, and everything that you said is what we've been standing up for, is our future. What are we going to leave behind when we're not here? So we know that we have good water, but it's being threatened all over the world. And so whatever we can do now is going to make a difference in the future. So I just thank you for being here, and I welcome your support. And like you said, you don't have to be here to show support or to do something, there's always something you can do. Each and every one of us, our communities need to start changing the way we live, our behavior, and being mindful of our actions. And in the end, I think nothing but good will come from this moment in history. I'll turn it back to your speakers.
Thank you.
Just thank you for being here.
Thank you. We're going to invite 5 speakers to give a 1 to 2 minute statement, and then we'll introduce the rest of the delegation. So, Aura Vasquez from the Center for Popular Democracy, please introduce yourself.
Sí, buenas tardes. Voy a decir estas palabras en español. Mi nombre es Aura Vázquez. Yo soy la directora de Justicia Climática para el Centro de Democracia Popular. Quiero darle las gracias no únicamente al chairman que está aquí presente, a todas las personas que han venido a colaborar, sino también a los miles de activistas que están allá afuera representándolos y urgiendo al gobierno.
Okay, so I'm translating for you. She says she's Aura Vasquez, and she's the president of whatever the Democratic thing that he said.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, I want to thank you guys for inviting me here and all this other stuff. And then she said, I also want to thank the thousands of activists that are here, that are out there.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Que por favor paren a la construcción de este oleoducto, porque nosotros entendemos culturalmente que el agua es vida,
Oil
pipeline. Es el mensaje céntrico de esta campaña, pero también sabemos que nos tenemos que unir
to this campaign.
Y pelear por lo que nos importa a nosotros, que es nuestra tierra y nuestra familia.
We have to fight for our
Gracias.
families and our land. Okay, we're good. I don't want to hear any more of those people. I just wanted you to hear what she was there to do, what Aura was there to do, because Aura and Susana and all of these folks that were there were working together, and they had a political agenda. Here is a link to Green Latinos. This is the Asset Builder Nation. Do you have that screen capture?
Nope.
Well, Nemo did share this. It's the one above that one. It says Green Latinos. Above that.
Nope, I don't.
Right there. Okay. Well, in this, it's a PDF that talks about what their platforms are. Diversity, equal justice and inclusion, executive action, and the ballot box. That's number 3. Public lands, waters, monuments, community planning, and administrative action is number 4. Let me see. Let me go back to get 2 and 1. Legislation and regulation, number 2. Park access, civil rights, environmental justice, and health equity is number 1. And then 5, administrative complaints for air, water, and green spaces. 6, climate justice. 7, a green justice new deal. And right below it are pictures of AOC, Sandy. 7, education and values. 8, data collection and analysis. 9, enforceable standards for progress and accountability. 10, Native American and Indigenous rights. And right underneath it is a picture of the video from YouTube you just saw.
Okay.
With Susana Sandoval. Okay? And so she is they are all part of the Green Latinos and the Green New Deal. Did you know it? It was already developed?
Nope.
It already existed, and she was already the head of it. Sandy was already the head of it before people were even calling her AOC.
Wow.
And her name is AOC in the brochure. They're not calling her Sandy, the barkeeper in here. So I will share that with you guys in the comments of this show so you can go check it out. And Duke, maybe you can put it on the website too for folks. It's very long. I really don't. It's 19 pages long.
Oh, okay.
So it's a very developed, far-reaching policy initiative. So let's look at Aura's Instagram a little closer. Another thing I found on there. is Chirla. Now, Chirla, we've heard a lot about having to do with undocumented immigrants. I want you to think forward to the Border Support Network founded by ex-felon and self-proclaimed veteran Evan K. Duke III, who is now running the Border Support Network with Myron Dewey and a bunch of other people that started a camp in Texas and that have been helping to smuggle people into the United States, working with crooked lawyers, doing fake marriages, kidnapping unaccompanied minors, all sorts of fun things. Look forward into now and where these people started working together back then at Standing Rock. So she posts about Chirla and she said she wants to share their action fund. One of the reasons I came to Los Angeles was to organize on immigrant rights issues. So she is also an immigrants' rights organizer. This green new Latino that was at the table talking in Spanish. And I want you to remember, you can go back and listen to it when they're talking in the car on their way to Standing Rock. One of the things that comes up is borders.
That's
Joshua
right.
says the people, that's the part we didn't finish listening to. That's the part that we didn't finish listening to in that video where he says, you still have it up?
No.
Or did you take it out?
Good.
Well, let me just tell you what he says, because, listening to them is boring, and then they stop every 5 seconds to try to find what road they're on. Joshua says that people who do not live within the, it's easy for people in the United States to overlook the differences that there are, basically the discrimination that people outside of the country face. They don't have to go and experience the same kind of thing when they go to, customs. If you come into this country and you're a U.S. citizen, whereas if you're a foreigner and you come to one of our borders, then they're going to ask you all sorts of questions and check your background and all this stuff. And it's the first little inkling that you get that all of this stuff that really has to do with politics, Bernie Sanders' campaign, climate change, AOC's Green New Deal, their platforms, their runs for political office, is going to have something to do with smuggling and illegal immigration. It's the first little inkling, the little red flag. And you're going to hear more of that. There's going to be more of it that bleeds into this conversation, even while they were at Standing Rock. The next slide I have here for you is from Aura's Instagram. This is what that looks like. She calls herself a community leader, a fearless social and environmental justice advocate. We know that she also advocates for immigrants' rights. Now scroll down and you'll be able to see what kinds of pictures she has. She doesn't even look the same, does she? Looks like a completely different person. You see there she's running for Congress in Los Angeles, Aura Vasquez. Go on election day. She is also a politician, just like Sandy and Bernie and Tulsi. And all of them chose to go and hang out with people like Evan Duke, Myron Dewey. Did you know that Dean Dedman, the drone pilot that worked with Myron Dewey, was at that same press conference for the Green New Latinos?
Oh, yeah?
Yes. There are pictures. There's too much stuff for me to put it all in a show. I mean, I know. I mean, it gets long, and I know that folks start to, nod off a little bit. I don't mean to be teachy or preachy, but what I do want to do is document everything in one place for people to see it. And come on, let's face it. Maria, Joshua, like I said before, these people aren't really concerned about indigenous rights or protecting the water for those Native Americans or getting rid of fossil fuel industries. Here's Maria Instagram page burner. Oh yeah, see if you can see the second photo there. That's from Burning Man. If you go to the next one, I can get it bigger for you.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Oh, she's a burner.
She's a burner just like Lolly B. She's a burner just like a whole bunch of the people that were at the camp. Do burners respect Native American heritage? No. Frequently, there are people there with, Native American gear. We saw you, a bunch of people. We showed you that a bunch of people from Standing Rock went to Burning Man after Standing Rock ended. Among them, Lolly B.
Yep.
That were defending the drunk and, drug-fueled orgies that people were having in the middle of the desert, naked, wearing war bonnets. And these folks were defending the right of the people there to do whatever they wanted. They don't respect the Native American culture. It's really just an act, if you will. AOC also posted this, and I wanted to show you something because I'm going to get more into this. I want to show you that AOC didn't just stumble upon the camp. She went there with the purpose, and she knew the people there. She knew exactly who to hook up with, and she was friends with all the people that organized it and brought the veterans out there, and were working with the PR people and the campaign, the Hollywood people. She was connected to all of them. Let me show you this post of hers from December 21 of 2016 while she was at camp. She said, "We made it to camp." But look right away. This is the day they come into the camp at night. Scroll down to the bottom, please. Remember, the next day there's an Instagram picture of Joshua in a diner in Bismarck, right? On the 22nd. And it's got her GoFundMe. And then some guy named Lamar says, "Look for my friend Gwendolyn Cates and give her a hug for me." He knows Gwendolyn Cates is going to be there. He wants AOC to hook up with them. And if you go down to the bottom, Gwendolyn actually responds, tags AOC in the post, and says, "Sorry, I'll miss you," because she was on her way out. Like Wes Clark, they left rather early, and guess what? They all ended up later in Washington, D.C., as I showed you. Gwendolyn Cates and Wes Clark were in Washington, D.C. shortly after this.
Yep.
And AOC and Maria Swisher were in D.C. shortly after going to Standing Rock. They knew each other. I'm not going to get into who Gwendolyn Cates is for those of you who don't know, but she's connected to Standing Rock, people that organized it, the vets, and Wesley Clark. The veterans stand for Standing Rock. But we also know that there was a video in which she talks about a Native American from the camp, from the area, like an actual local person. Let's see what she says about him. Finally, something real. Let's take a look.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. No, I don't have the service to go live right now, but here's just one small section of camp. We settled in last night. We have a tent with
wood burning stove inside. It's amazing. Like, we came in here and they just have been so generous and so wonderful. And
guys, thank you. We're about to go get gas right now for the generators at one of the camp centers, and we're doing it with your donations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Specifically, I wish I could tap back on this, but specifically, so the gas for this specific generator, this generator is the center, is kind of like one of the information centers at camp. So
around
it's got these huge speakers attached to it. I recorded a video of them waking everybody up, waking up the whole camp, everyone at camp.
Sacred Fire.
Singing and
singing,
prayer, and information. This is like the hub.
Yeah,
the hub.
So it's really funny because they have these really charismatic guys man the microphone, and they tell jokes,
and the guy that we're getting gas for is named Huggy Bear.
Yeah, his name is Huggy Bear. He has it written on his mittens. It's
How
so
adorable.
Funny. So thank you again so much. Keep donating if you can. Keep sharing. Hopefully we'll be able to go live today. That's what we're really hoping for. So
there's a lot to report, and
there's so much to share with you guys, and we're just hoping that you get a little piece of this action right now, and we
Piece
will
of the
be
action.
back. Thanks again.
You know what Huggy Bear is also known for?
No.
Sexual assault. Being a offender, a sexual offender. Here's a post from camp, for those of you who don't remember Huggy Bear, in which Joy Brunn of the Indigenous Environmental Network is trying to raise money for said Huggy Bear through youcaring.com. Here's that post for Huggy Bear by Indigenous Environmental Network organizer from Standing Rock, Joy Brunn.
Okay.
In this one, a woman named Tanya is also raising money for Huggy Bear. Here's her post. Oh, sorry. No, she is taking an adventure and sightseeing with Huggy Bear.
Oh, it's a
And her
guide.
name is Tanya Marie Hart Olson. In the next photo, you will actually see Huggy Bear is with her in this adventure sitting on a bench. October 16, 2018. Recent.
Yeah.
In this other picture, you're going to see a group of people, including Huggy Bear, from camp at Cannonball in 2019 that was posted. Obviously, it's from when camp was actually there. And if you'll make it bigger, it says our bunch of other people are tagged in this, and then it says Huggy Bear. And you've got a biker's jacket they're holding up there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what that's from?
Is that the red rum?
It's the Red Rum.
Ah, Nathan Phillips.
The Nathan Phillips people. Remember who closed out the camp?
Yeah.
Don't forget who closed out that camp. Now let's go to what this guy's real name is. His name is Craig Sotzi. Craig Sotzi, this is his Facebook page. And it's got his big medallion on the front, Stop Line 3, you know. He's a well-known water protector, one of the people leading prayers at the fire, giving out information, instruction, providing security, and most importantly, leading a prayer. Right? This is sacred fire. Next one, he's got a picture of him with his name on it. Same dude.
Yep.
And then here is his record.
Wow.
In the other paid site where you get the full background, it says attempted rape.
Really?
Yes. But there are a list of other offenses. Many of them are traffic offenses, lots of driving without a license, driving while intoxicated, driving without insurance, lots of things like that. But there's also DUIs. And there are also violent offenses such as assault and battery. Now I ask you something. How does that person, Sandy at Standing Rock, know Huggy Bear? She's going on a gas run for Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
But and they never ask themselves how come these people don't have real names. It's okay that they use these aliases.
Yeah.
You ever wonder why, Sandy? Because there was a lot of sex offenders at the camp that you were hanging out with. Felons, sex offenders, rapists, child molesters, serial rapists, the whole gamut. That you worked with, that you worked alongside, that you were still working with ever since you went to Standing Rock. And there are many more connections. For example, I found that someone else was raising money for Huggy Bear besides Sandy and the EIN people. It was this woman named Alex Kuro-Neko Tan. And she posted about the Huggy Bear Fund for getting him home or something in a couple of different places in January of 2017. This is why camp is still happening. Yep. And on this page on Facebook, Alex Kuro-Neko, who's somebody we've never talked about before, but we should definitely do a full rundown on. But I'll give you a little taste of who she is. In this next post, you'll see that she, on her own Facebook page, is taking a picture with the Young Turks' Ty Bayliss.
Oh, wow.
Remember, the Young Turks started Justice Democrats that funded AOC's campaign and much of what you know as the Justice Democrats.
Yep.
So the Young Turks, the platform that also raised more than $2.2 million for the Veteran Stands for Standing Rock, for which Wes Clark also worked, are all intertwined with what happened at Standing Rock, the planning of it, the destruction of it, and the you know, all of the people that got hurt in the process. And this, by the way, is a post tagging Alex by Chelsea Lyons Kent, who, along with Ty Bayliss, is accused of having raped their co-worker
At Flint.
in Flint, Michigan,
Yep.
with Jordan Sheridan. You remember that scandal. You remember that they had to let him go. Next, I want to show you one where she's in Flint. Chelsea was in Flint. The Flop House was in Flint. After Standing Rock, they went and made their second camp, which you know AOC was already talking about on her trip to Standing Rock.
Exactly.
She stopped there on the way. It was going to be part of her platform all along, and these other activists were going to push the same agenda afterwards.
Yep.
So that she had a reason to fight for her constituents. Right?
Right.
They're the ones that go out and organize and stimulate people to go and protest different, at the time of DAPL, offices for the Army Corps of Engineers. At the time of the fight against the wall and the asylum policies of the United States at detention facilities in America. Let me show you one of the photos from her page about Standing Rock. Here's Alex Kuroneko, who of course was at Standing Rock, but more interestingly, there she is hugging Mr. Kingfisher, who was also part of the Nathan Phillips hoax, because of course the actors and the hoaxers that closed the camp, which you can see there is Extraction Day, February 22nd, 2017, were all a bunch of frauds. All of them were. And they went on to perpetrate another fraud with the Covington Catholic School kids later on. Here she is with Terrence Daniels, who famously was caught in fraud after fraud in state after state, raking in money off of the backs of disaster victims in the United States and abroad in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Here she is posting about being at, she's tagged in the people at this giant Bernie event in 2016 in Minneapolis.
Wow.
We know that they are part and parcel of a campaign that connects all the way back to Bernie. They're not just activists. They're not just honey keepers or whatever the hell they tell you. Here's another one where Alex is posting about Evan Duke. Here's the Evan post. There's many. This is not the only one. But in this one, they're talking about the camp in Texas for the activists to stop the wall. You see that?
Yep.
And in the next one, it posts a picture of her and one of her friends from camp and veteran and friend of Maggie Day and all of the Seven McDonald and all the people working on the Bernie Sanders campaign, the Hollywood actors, Mr. Jesse L. Nicky.
Wow.
For those of you who don't know, this guy was known to be unhinged and dangerous. Unhinged and dangerous. But almost all of these people ended up being just really savage. Let me show you the last one here. Their behavior was really ridiculous. This is Evan Duke posting about the Somisec camp with the Carrizo Come Crudo tribe, and look at all the people that are tagged. This is from her page. These are her posts on her page right now. Look who's tagged.
Wow.
You've got Tara Hauska. You've got Winia Locke, Jesse Garcia, Juan Mancias, Jamie Skapowski, Evan Duke, Susie Desba, Mason Bobby Leonard,
Yep.
Arkel Bloss, Greg Matthews Williamson, Frances Fisher, the actress, Jessica Brzezinski, Anthony Gazzotti, Wiaka Eagleman, a.k.a. Wombly Wicasa, LaDonna Allard, Jonathan Klett, Maggie's boyfriend.
Yeah, wow.
Look at all of the people that are connected.
All the players.
You think that all of these people that were hanging out with Huggy Bear in the last days of camp, most of whom were actors, most of whom were paid activists and actors, had nothing to do with Sandy? They're still working on her platform, folks. I doubt it. I doubt that any of it was organic. I doubt that any of it is organic still. So I hope that that gives you a better understanding of what Sandy really did at Standing Rock. And I'm going to break down more of these other profiles and what they did before and what they've done since, so that you can understand how dangerous and damaging these activists and con artists can be. Thanks for being here on another program, Mexican Crossing Lines, with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Good night.